Hi, I'm Pastor Malefho. Today we are going to study something from the book of Matthew, chapter 19, verse 19. So we are going to learn something about the commandment that says, as we read, thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. I want us to look at the word love, or what is really love, and how is God expecting us to love one another. Because even when Christ left his disciples, he told them, love one another. And also the Bible says, thou shalt love your God, one of the commandments, with all thy heart. Or everything is centered around love, that we are to love one another, we are to love God. And that is very important, that as we walk in our Christian life, to exercise it. Because I always tell people that there are some things that you need to exercise them, like patience, endurance. Those need to be exercised so that you grow in them. You need to teach yourself. You need to make sure you love no matter what is happening around you. So today we are going to look at the scripture that says, thou shalt love thy neighbor as you love yourself, or as you love thyself. The first thing is saying, thou shalt love. And whom are you to love? Your neighbor. And how are you to love your neighbor? As you love yourself. So it's very important to understand that you are to love. And whom are you to love? You are to love your neighbor. And how are you to love your neighbor? As you love yourself. Because I get everyone loves themselves. So you have to love your neighbor as you love yourself. So we are going to split it this way, like I said. Whom are you to love? The first thing, you are to love your neighbor. And how am I to love my neighbor? As I love myself. Because that is very important. So you may ask yourself, who is your neighbor? You remember when the Samaritan was walking to Jericho, there was a man who was lying by the roadside. And when he was passing, that was the neighbor. Then he decided to do what? He decided to attend and love the neighbor. So your neighbor here, the Bible is meaning everyone who is next to you. Whether you are in the bus, the one who is sitting next to you is your neighbor. You are expected to love them. Whether you are walking, the one that you meet or you come across is your neighbor. You are expected to do what? To love them. Wherever you are, whether you are at home, whether you are with your sisters, the one who is sitting next to you is your neighbor. You are expected to do what? To love them, because they are near you. You can't just say, okay, no, me, I'm going to love those whom I go to church with. Or when you are inside the bus, you don't show love. Because Christian life is all about love. Because I believe personally that when you love the Lord, then you'll be able to have faith in the Lord. Because when you love something, you treasure that thing. You make sure this thing becomes the best thing in your life. So love is also, when it's there, then faith comes very easy. Because when you love the Lord, even to go to the house of the Lord, even to minister to others, even to pray, you just do it easily because you love. When you love God, that comes very easily. So it's very important, like I said from the beginning when we started the subject, that there are some things that you need to exercise them. so that you be able to be rooted in them, because you are to grow in faith, and you are to grow in love. You are to grow in patience, because if you are not going to exercise it, then you can't grow in it. So the other thing, like I was saying, you are to love your neighbor. That is very important, that you always have to consider. Is the Bible says you are to do what? You are to love your neighbor. And the thing here is, you can, like I always hear people say that, no, I do not hate my neighbor. No, I tell them it's not enough to say I do not hate my neighbor. But the Bible is saying you are to love them, because that is the difference. It's in the doing part. Or are you loving them, or you are just sitting there and saying, no, I'm okay with my neighbor, I do not hate them? Because if you say like that, then it's not true love. Because true love now is in the doing part, is acting. Because when you love your neighbor, you are able to do what? To share the gospel to them. You are able to go to them and say, let's go to church. Because when you love them, we always say that love is in actions. So you can't say, no, I do not hate them. Because if you say like that, then you are not going to do anything. You'll be just keeping them far away and say, no, I do not hate you. Everything is okay. But when you say, I love you, then you are forced to do what? To show your love, to perform your love. You are forced to go to them and say, okay, let's go for Sunday service. Let's go for midweek prayer. Because now you are starting to show your love to them. So like I said, the first thing, you are to do what? You are to love. And whom are you to love? You are to love your neighbor. And how are you to love your neighbor? As you love yourself. Because I know all of us will love ourselves. And that's the commandment of the Lord when we look at this verse of love. And we have, as brethren, we are always to make sure we love one another, we care for one another. Like if your neighbor is poor, you are supposed to love them. Even if your neighbor is rich, you are supposed to do what? To still love them. Because I know, I always tell people, if my neighbor is poor, and they visit me, or whether they give me a present, or whatever they do for me, immediately they leave. It's easy for me to just forget them. But if you get a visit by a rich man, you can spend the whole year remembering that the rich person. Always say, oh, Pastor so-and-so, who was rich from America, visited me. You will always try to show your love to that person because they visited you. So, but the Bible says you are to love your neighbor. Your neighbor might be a poor person, your neighbor might be a rich person, but you are to show love to them in whatever state they are in. So, because that is Christianity. That's what God expects us to do always, that we should love our neighbors. And we should do it with all our heart as we love ourselves. So it's very important that we always look at love in that way, so that we do not miss what is all about love. So I will just stop there today in this subject. We'll continue the other time.